Hey friend, welcome back to Fig and Farm at Home. If you are new here, my name is Danny. I am the host here, and I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. I know you all have important lives. You have busy lives, and you have things to do. If you're sitting around listening to me, thanks a bunch. Friend, we're doing something a little different today. I'm going to be sharing a little bit behind the scenes. Sometimes when I do that, I have an interview that I'm sharing with someone, or I showcase someone I'm working with, a client. But today, I'm doing a little storytelling. Today, I want you to hear how transformation can happen in your home when you decide to take action. These 3 people I've worked with over the years, and they went from a home that felt a little to homes that they feel inspired by, they feel delighted by, and they definitely don't feel embarrassed to finally say yes to hosting the event, whatever that event is. Recently, I have been invited to help decorate homes in my local area to get them ready for graduation. And as my own son is getting nearer and nearer to graduation, he's a year away, I'm thinking about all of you and the way that sometimes that time crunch is the thing that gets us motivated. But as I'm getting calls to go and help them and they have a 2-week deadline, it's now becoming a little bit more unrealistic to make all the changes that they want to make in such a short amount of time. And so there's my cautionary tale for you. Whether your event is a party, graduation, Thanksgiving in November, what are some things that you can do now in order to make your space ready? Well, let me give you one. One is listen to the podcast. Friend, every week I pour into you ideas for how you can create cohesive design, elevate your space, make changes that are affordable. Think about guidelines like sizing and all of the things. Listen to the podcast and be inspired, but don't just be inspired. Take action, because we know that we can spend hours upon hours on Instagram and Pinterest looking at the pretty pictures, being inspired, but leaving that inspiration stuck on the platform. So take action. The second thing, come into Home Design 101. It is always open, ready for you. There are more seats at the table where you can learn on your own, take your time, and have the accountability and support you need. But what I don't want for you, friend, is to look up next year, 2 years from now, whenever that event is happening, and realize, shoot, I should have taken action and I shouldn't have waited till the last minute, because that's when things get real expensive, real fast. All right, friend, today in this different episode, I hope you enjoy. And as you are getting ready to safely, I hope, celebrate our long weekend here in the States anyway, I hope that wherever you are, you have sun, you have warmth, because I am sitting here with a blanket on and my sweatshirt and fuzzy slippers, and I am still cold. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. We grew up with the phrase, home is where the heart is, but our culture has shifted, and now the message is, home should be Pinterest perfect. I'm calling BS on that message. Home, it's not about the stuff, it's about the story. And whether you know it or not, your home is a reflection of you and is already saying something. So what is it that you want it to say? Hey, I'm Danny, a former first grade teacher turned home decorator. Going from a dual income to a single income so I could stay home with my babies meant budget, like ramen eating, Goodwill shopping budget. And I learned a few things along the way, like how to bring big style to your home without breaking the bank. And I'm sharing it all with you. Tips, tricks, decor, and design advice so you can learn to tell your story with your style, where you can start living free from the Pinterest perfect trap and start living a life of intention. Welcome to Fig and Farm at Home, where we design happy living and where it doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I started my career as a first grade teacher. And as a teacher, if any of you are, or as you can imagine, when I got a handful of students, by a handful I mean my lowest number was 13, my highest number was, I think I capped at 20. That was an okay number. But each kiddo is different. They came to the classroom with different learning capabilities. They came with different background knowledges. They came with different home lives and support from home. And they all needed something different. Now, I know if I were to open the classroom doors on the first day of school and say, okay, Robbie, Susan, Johnny, and Sarah, you guys are all going to get this box, and this is what you're going to get for your education, no matter where you were. I know that I would be setting them up for failure and me up for frustration, because maybe Johnny was reading at a 3rd grade level when Sarah was barely even recognizing her letters, which, by the way, was a case, not the same names, but was a case in my school. The levels are so different. If you look at your own kiddos and you can see how some of your kiddos learn differently, learn faster or slower, or they might have different interests. There's intricacy to them. There are different layers and needs, and you can't necessarily approach them, discipline them, teach them all the same way. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because that is relatable. That is understandable. No one would expect that all learners learn the same. Or same thing if we were to go see the doctor, and we might have 10 patients ready to see the doctor, but that doctor is not going to treat my elbow injury or his knee injury or that sore throat all the same way. They're all different. And having the diagnostic tools in order to be able to treat those people differently based on their needs is a skill. And I'm telling you that because design is very much the same way. What you need in your own home and what you might want in your own home will be or could be very different than what Linda needs down the street, or what Rhonda needs across town, or what Becky needs over in Timbuktu. Design needs are different. And this has become so evident over the last few weeks. I mentioned in the intro that I've been rather busy helping our local community, some of the moms in our local community, get ready for making their homes ready to host a bunch of people because of high school graduations. And as I go into each and everyone's home, there are different needs that I'm coming across. Some people just need a little direction. Some people just need a little hand holding and to be told, hey, put some pictures here, move that furniture here. Are you ready to paint the wall? Yep, go ahead and paint that wall and you're good to go. Some people want me to literally go shopping for them. Sometimes it is in-person shopping if I'm local. Sometimes it's online shopping so they can do it themselves. And others just want to run questions by me. They have all the ideas. They've done their research on Pinterest. They just want to know if it's a good idea in order to make a smart choice. Because sitting around and chatting to hubby about it, well, we know how that goes sometimes. So today, our behind the scenes look at what it looks like to run a mom and mom home decorating business. This is what it looks like. I'm going to tell you 3 stories about 3 different people who needed 3 different things. One of them could be you. One of them could be what it is you need in your home. All right, I want you to meet Colleen. Colleen has a lovely home, a lovely foundation. She painted her walls beautifully. It's a really lovely neutral color. She had some good pieces of furniture in her home, but each time she would come home from work, come home from dropping kids off at school, come home from wherever she was, she felt a little about the way that her home looked. It was fine, but it wasn't really her. It lacked, in her words, a little bit of personality, and she knew and recognized that some of the pieces she had, even though lovely, were a little bit dated. She'd had them for a while. Some were hand-me-downs, some were picked up at thrift stores, some she had bought, but she was realizing that they weren't quite working together, and she was ready for an update, for a refresh. Colleen would spend her lunch breaks on Instagram, on Pinterest. She would spend a lot of her time pinning really beautiful pictures. And every once in a while, she would get a burst of inspiration. She would go to Home Goods, buy the pillows, buy the textiles, buy the artwork, come home, try it out, and realize what she got at home that it didn't quite work. But it was really cute in the store. It was really cute. It caught her attention. Colleen would get frustrated because she spent time and money. Mostly it was the money frustration. She would spend money and it still wouldn't work. And because she spent money, she felt like she had to keep it or return it, but sometimes she missed the return date and then felt really guilty about the expenditure. And so moving forward, she didn't want to make any more poor decisions. She wanted a little bit of help. And so Colleen reached out and Colleen booked a decorating SOS call with me. We chatted for an hour over Zoom and I was able to come into her home virtually and answer a lot of questions she had about the decisions she made and the way that she wanted to move forward in her home and help get her unstuck. Colleen didn't just book one time, she booked a couple times, and it didn't take long for her to take all of that inspiration she had accumulated over the time, even some of the purchases she had made, because she could recognize cute. She was a very good recognizer of that. But how she could then use it in her home in ways that she just hadn't thought about before. There were times when Colleen and I would meet and I would literally say, okay, do you have your tennies on? Because we are going to decorate that mantle. We're going to decorate that coffee table. We are going to decorate that bookcase. And I would sit over the computer screen and I would help and direct her and guide her. Nope, move that book a little to the left. Move that plant, put that plant on top of that stack of books. Oh, let's turn that here. Oop, we need a little bit more pink here. And over time, Colleen's confidence grew. She began to make better decisions. She began taking that inspiration that she had accumulated on her own and transferring it into action. And the decorating SOS calls that she would make with me became fewer and fewer and fewer. And you might be sad for me, but actually that's the goal. The goal is to instill all of you with confidence to make smart decisions. The goal is to help teach you what you don't already know about decorating your home and making your space look cohesive, put together, elevated, zhuzh. Whatever word you use, I've heard them all, whatever word you use, the goal is to give you the confidence so that you can take the reins and then say goodbye to me, like my kids did at the end of the first grade year every year. They graduated. They didn't need to stay with me and keep reading the books they were reading. My goal is to help you get to the next step so that you don't rely on me anymore. And Colleen graduated, and Colleen has a very lovely home. All right, I want you to meet Sarah. Sarah had a home similar to Colleen where she felt uninspired by. She had bought her home 10 years ago, and she realized one day that the furniture she had was still the same furniture, not usually a big deal, but that it was arranged exactly the way the realtor had arranged it. She realized after looking at some home design magazines one day that her really overstuffed brown couches were kind of taking up more space than they should. And it didn't necessarily match with these pictures she was seeing in the magazine that were bright and colorful and playful, a lot like Sarah's personality. Now, Sarah, a little background on Sarah, is a really, really hard worker. Sarah is one of the hardest workers I know. She has 2 jobs, not because she wants to, but because she has to. And Sarah is not afraid of doing any hard work. She likes to go to YouTube to try to learn the skill that she needs in order to fix the problem herself. And she's not afraid of getting her hands dirty. And this was so lovely. When I learned that about Sarah, it was so inspiring, quite honestly. But Sarah really wanted to have a home that looked a little bit more like that. I think it was Better Homes and Garden. The Better Homes and Gardens picture she saw, the bright and colorful and really fun and airy, and a little less or a lot less like the oversized brown leather couch that she had. She knew that she could do the work herself, but she just had no idea where to start. She had no idea where to start, but she had the hammer ready. She had the paintbrush ready. She had it all ready. She just wanted someone to tell her what to do. And she tried. And Sarah, if you can tell, was an action taker. Sarah was not afraid to take action. So after she had her friends over one night and they were talking about what she could do in her room, Sarah went to Lowe's the next day and bought the paint. And she started painting her walls because Sarah was an action taker. But she realized that even though she painted the walls, the couch was still a little bit funky and a little bit not working with the style she wanted. And so although she wanted that really bright and bold and fun look, playful look, the yellow that she painted on the walls was not quite working with the big, oversized leather furniture. Now, just so you know, Sarah has my permission in order to tell you this story. And so does Colleen, and so does the other person I'm going to be talking about. And then Sarah heard me one day. And so Sarah reached out and Sarah asked if I could help her. And I did. And instead of talking her through what it was, kind of those coaching calls like I did with Colleen and working over a long period of time in order to help Colleen make those steps forward, Sarah just basically wanted me to tell her what to do. She said, can you make a plan for me and just tell me what to do? I'll do it. Remember, Sarah had the paintbrush and the hammer in her hand. Well, I told Sarah to put down her hammer because we were going to get to work a different way. And so what I did for Sarah was created a room edit. And basically what that was is she gave me a tour of her home. This was, by the way, virtually. It was not in person. She gave me a tour of her home where I could see all the pictures of the room she wanted to do. She told me about the goals she had in mind for her space, the direction she wanted to go, and she even showed me the Better Homes and Garden magazine picture, her inspiration. And so I created a plan for Sarah. Sarah did not want an elongated process. Sarah wanted to know what it was she needed to do so she could get the job done. And the room edit allowed me to go in and say, Sarah, I think you should get rid of the yellow walls. I think you should paint it white. I think you should, when you're ready, get rid of the furniture, replace it with this kind of furniture. And I gave her the specifications of what kind of furniture to place. By the way, Sarah, the furniture arrangement you currently have is not set up in front of the focal wall. Let's make this your focal wall. Are you ready to use that hammer? Okay, let's make this a feature wall. And here's how you do it. Do you see that lighting up above there, Sarah? Yep, that's a little bit builder grade. What if you put this kind of light there? And how about these kinds of pillows? And then I let Sarah go. That was it. I just needed to give Sarah a little bit of direction. Sarah contacted me 2 months later, and the picture, oh my goodness, of what her before and what her after was stunning. Sarah took that guidance and she ran with it. She knew she wanted to make change. She knew she wanted to do it quickly. She knew she could do it on her own. She trusted herself. She just didn't know where to start or what to do. And she didn't have the patience to sort through YouTube videos, sort through Pinterest or Instagram or all the places in order to keep getting inspired and keep collecting the ideas and then do nothing with. Remember, Sarah took action, and sometimes the action, even though it wasn't the best action or the right step, she was ready to take action. And she could do it herself, which was empowering. And now I want you to meet Kara. Kara is a busy, if you think I'm busy, way busier than me. Kara has 4 kiddos and she works a corporate job, and her power suits they're really cute. I wish sometimes I had a job where I needed power suits and stilettos, but that just is not me. And Kara's home was actually lovely. When she hired me, I first thought, I don't understand why you're hiring me. This looks great. This is just fine. But once I started talking with Kara about the vision she had for her space, the way that she wanted to function just a little bit differently, and the way that she wanted the room to be laid out, and to take a few risks in the decorating world, trying a few what we would call trends, trying a few of those. She knew that she wanted to make that change, and she could clearly communicate what it was she wanted. She didn't know, she couldn't define what her style was, and that's not atypical. That's actually very typical for lots of people. In fact, side note, a lot of people know what their style is, they just don't have a name for it, and they don't necessarily know how to compartmentalize it into being a style. By the way, hint, that is what I teach you in Home Design 101, how to recognize what your style is so that then you can stop feeling frustrated, overwhelmed, all the things. But Kara, she had really good taste, but she didn't know what her style was, and she didn't have the time to go out and do the things in order to make the change. She wanted to change. She was ready for a refresh. She just honestly wanted to hand me her credit card and say, will you make the changes for me? Can you shop for me? But Kara lived across the United States. I couldn't go to her home. I couldn't go to her local stores. So we shopped online. Kara knew she wanted a new credenza, a new dining table, some new dining chairs. She was contemplating the idea of an area rug underneath her dining table, and then of course the pretty things to make it all pop at the end. And so I put together a custom design board so that she could see all of the things together in one place so that she could decide if she liked it or not. And we made tweaks here and there. The first iteration is not always the best iteration, and that's okay. But the more information she was giving me, the better choice selections I could make. And of course, using her budget and the stores that she liked and all the things. Sarah, Colleen, and Kara were not too dissimilar from my first grade students all those years ago who came into my room the first day of school with different background experiences, different support at home, different ways of learning, different desires for what they wanted to learn and how they wanted to learn it. They're not all that different. They each wanted a similar thing. They wanted their homes to look better tomorrow than they did today. But they each had a different pathway in order to get there. Ones that worked with their style and their desire and their budget a little bit better. Colleen, she wanted to chat it out. Colleen was very happy to have multiple calls in order to take her time in order to get her home from that inspiration into reality. Sarah wanted to get the job done. She was a no-nonsense kind of girl, and a hard worker, willing to take risks but to do it on her own, just needing the roadmap in order to get there. And Kara basically just threw her credit card at me and said, I trust you, do what you want. So friend, you may be wondering why I'm telling you the stories about Sarah and Colleen and Kara. You may be wondering how these girls' stories apply to you. And I wonder if you could relate to any one of them. I wonder if you are the go-getter, if you are the one who wants to throw your credit card at me, if you are the one who wants to hang around and chit-chat. They all received the results they wanted in a different pathway to getting there. If you've been around for a while at Fig and Farm at Home, you know that over the course of time, I have had different services available. And as my business is growing, I've taken some away, I've packaged them up, and I've put them inside of what I call the vault. Some of my mini courses, I opened those up last year in the vault, like how to make a pillowcase, how to paint furniture, how to style a bookshelf, how to make a tablescape. Those I opened up last year. This year, inside of the vault, I am opening up my design services, but I'm only opening them up for 1 week until May 31st. So this week, you will have access to decorating SOS calls, kind of like Colleen, where we can chitty chat via Zoom. You will have a room edit where someone just comes in and tells you what to do. And you will have access to a custom mood board if you're ready to say, just pick the product already. I just need the product. Now, it doesn't have to happen this week, but the booking has to happen this week. So now until May 31st, the Design Vault will be open. If you would like more information, if you are ready to create that space that you are tired of feeling a little tired about, if you're ready to take that inspiration and put it into action, if you're ready to finally just say yes, realizing that you are done spending all the money at Target, choosing all the wrong things, and you're ready to make intentional design choices, this is the week for you, because after May 31st, these things are all getting tucked back into my vault again until next year. You can email me at hello@figandfarmathome.com to get the link to get into the vault, or you can go to the show notes and I'll have a direct link there. Friend, whatever you choose to do, whichever action you take, whether it is action with me or action with another designer, or even if you're like Sarah and you're just ready to take action on your own, I hope that you do take action, because it's when we sit in inaction, when we sit in just that place of learning and that place of thinking about it and hoping for it, change doesn't happen with hope alone. Change happens when you make the first step. And so I'm inviting you with me this week to make that first step. All right, friend, I hope that it is you I get to meet. It is you I get to help, whether you are a Colleen, a Sarah, or a Kara. Friend, enjoy your weekend, be safe, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Hey, real quick before you go, if you learned something new or found value in today's podcast, would you head over to iTunes to Fig and Farm at Home and leave a review and subscribe to the show? That would be awesome. And if you'd like to connect with my community of mamas who are learning to be intentional storytellers within their own homes, join us at bit.ly/design101 group. There's always more room at the table. See you soon.